It's time for the 49ers Rush podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
All right, welcome to another episode of the 49ers Rush podcast. I am your host, John Chapman, and we've got a great episode for you today. We are going to be talking defensive breakdown of the season, of the game versus the Ravens, moving forward just a little bit, taking a quick peek at this Sunday's game, and answering whatever questions you guys have. So just want to say thanks for everybody that is joining us, and as always, make sure that you hit that like button. It helps with the algorithms to help get us more traffic and all those things, and really do appreciate that. So let's get my ugly mug off this filter here, and let's jump into some film. Again, as always, you're going to be seeing this if you are watching this live on YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, or Twitter. A lot of the coaching film from the game versus the Ravens on a defensive side, and the overall consensus is this, whether this is from the national media, myself, whomever's out there, the 49ers defense played very, very well. You held the Baltimore Ravens to their lowest scoring outpoint of the entire year, 20 points. It's the lowest that they put up. You basically made Lamar Jackson completely one-dimensional. Yes, he still had some success in the run game due to blown assignments mostly. Scheme was a little bit of an issue. They got us off guard a couple of times, but all in all, the defense played very, very well. And the 49ers just got their second Defensive Player of the Month named for the NFC, and Fred Warner, who has just been lights out since the injury of Quan Alexander. He has kind of moved into that Quan position, and you'll see as you're watching this film, he wasn't playing Mike most of the time. The play that's up there right now, yes, he's still calling the defense, but the Mike and Will are rather interchangeable. The main difference is the Will linebacker does a lot more coverage than the Mike does. The Mike is usually going to be manned up with the running back end or fullback or tight end, whereas the Will linebacker that lines up to the weak side, you'll see in a couple plays here, whenever they come out in trips, the Will linebacker has to run vertical in man coverage with the number 3 wide receiver. So if they come out in an empty set, which we saw some versus the Ravens, Fred Warner's got to run all the way downfield with them. And, probably the biggest play that he made was whenever he was manned up with the third player in a trips formation, and it was Marquise Brown, the first wide receiver taken in the draft, one of the fastest players to come out of the draft in a while at the wide receiver position. And he ran with them step for step, cut underneath them, and was able to bat the ball down. So just want to say congratulations, Fred Warner. He has completely responded, and in the 4 weeks since Quan Alexander's injury, he's had double tackles every single game. And the major concern for Fred Warner's game was coverage, but he has elevated his game considerably and has played very, very well in his absence. So shout out to Fred Warner. He joins Nick Bosa, who has also been named NFC Defensive Player of the Month. And the NFL season's short. So here's the deal. The fact that we've already had 2 players of the month for the NFC is huge. I mean, if you look at it, the NFC has 16 teams, right? 32 teams in the NFL, half are in the NFC. 11 defensive starters for each team, 11 times 16. That's 176. So we've had the best player in 2 months out of 176 starters. Quite impressive, to say the least. So, again, we're going to be focusing mostly on the defensive side. If you guys have some questions and want to jump into the Saints, I'm not going to stop us from doing that. I'm so excited and looking forward. But tomorrow is going to be our full preview and breaking down everything about the Saints, scouting report and all that. I still have some film to break down. I've gone through a game and a half, but I need to do some more. And, man, they're tricky. The Saints are a tricky team, especially because they do a lot of crazy stuff with Taysom Hill in there. And, man, if I was the Saints, if I'm self-scouting the 49ers as a 49ers guy, I'm going to have Taysom Hill in the game a lot more than they have in the past, because I really do believe we match up very, very well against a stationary quarterback, somebody like Drew Brees. Yes, he's savvy, can move around in the pocket, but this defense is designed to stop that type of game. Taysom Hill, the mobile quarterback, is what the 49ers have had the most struggles with, even though they've done well. The most success against his defense has been with a mobile quarterback. Now, again, if you want to hear the breakdowns, you're going to see lots of pausing and the mouse moving around like crazy on that film. If you want the full breakdown and audio and all those things, just join us on my Patreon. Go over to the Patreon app, which is free. Type in 49ers Rush Podcast. It's $8 a month. Join the Frank Gore tier there, and we will be bringing videos all year round. Currently, in season, we'll be doing a full offense and defense, and then during the offseason, it'd be all draft content, and then after the draft, it'd be breaking down moving forward, highlights, all that kind of stuff. So that's a year-round deal, and all of the money goes to support the podcast, help with writers on the website, NinersRush.com, and just equipment, all that kind of stuff. So that's a great way to support the podcast. So let's jump in just to a couple questions. First off, it's not a question, but Sex Locks, that's an awesome name. John, I flipping love you, dog. Right back at you. Rough. Yeah, love you guys. Appreciate it. Love all the support that comes through. A lot of people bag on Twitter and the NFL fan base and the 49ers fan base and all those things just because, yeah, there's a couple fair weather fans out there. Yeah, there's a lot of really negative people out there. I get that. But that's 1%. The people that show up, you guys, really do appreciate you. The support has been awesome. And again, I brought this up just the last episode. Sunday's going to be our 200th, 200, our 200th podcast with the 49ers Rush podcast in 3.5 years. It's just been nuts, and it just grows every year, and a lot of that's because of you guys. So again, like, share, wherever this is. So appreciative. And on Sunday, I want to be giving away some 49ers Rush podcast t-shirts for free and pay for shipping to get them out there to you guys. So please join us Sunday after the game. That will go live immediately after Kyle Shanahan's press conference. And if you want more John Chapman, we will be broadcasting live. The Hot Mic app, which is still on only iTunes, use promo code RUSHESF, RUSHESF. I partner over with Eat Sleep Fantasy on that. We're going to be broadcasting live the entire 49ers game, color commentary, and all that stuff. So if you don't want to listen to the same people that broadcast last week, come join us. We have a chat enabled on the app, and so you get to interact with me, and it's a 49ers-specific broadcast, so we're going to be covering everything from the 49ers standpoint. And it's just a great way to make sure you get somebody that knows your team instead of guys that just watch one or two games and they cover everybody else. It's going to be 49ers specific. That's on the Hot Mic app. Now, the Android app is scheduled to come out, I believe, on the 13th, so it's still a week out, fixing some issues, but that is coming up very, very soon. Here we go from Nick. What player for the 49ers will be most important to our success in the run-up to the playoffs? Man, that's a great question. From an offensive standpoint, I think it has to be George Kittle. I do believe he is the best player on the 49ers. I read the stat today from David Lombardi. The games that George Kittle hasn't played in, the difference is a full 2 yards per rushing attempt. So whenever George Kittle's on the field, we get 2 extra yards per run. Obviously, he's one of the best receiving tight ends of all time. He broke the record for most receiving yards ever in only his second year. This is only his third year. But the contribution that George Kittle brings in the run game is probably more valuable. Yes, he's great in the pass game, but his run blocking was the best I have seen from a tight end in a very, very long time. He was great this week. The offensive stats for Kittle weren't amazing by any stretch, but what he did in the run game was great. And then on the defensive side, and this might be a little bit of a shock to people, Dee Ford. We have played very, very well without him, but he brings a completely different dynamic, and he is practicing. And I think if we can get Dee Ford back to the point where he is 25 or more snaps a game, he's just an X factor. The 49ers are great on third and fourth down for a reason. Now, I'm not saying that he's the most valuable. I'm just saying he brings an added element that nobody else on this defense has, not even Nick Bosa. He's not that quick speed guy that can get there in less than 2 seconds. He is a power player, Nick Bosa, but D Ford is probably one of the fastest defensive ends, explosive defensive ends that just creates so many turnovers. So that's huge. And great news, at practice yesterday, D Ford practiced. DJ Jones practiced. Joe Staley practiced. Richard Sherman practiced, which makes no sense. Really didn't think we were going to see him. He was going to be iffy this week anyway. He didn't even miss one day. Excuse me. Matt Breida practiced. Kentavious Street out there practiced. They activated his 3-week window. So let's talk a little bit about Kentavious Street. They asked Kyle Shanahan where you envision using Kentavious Street, and they said on the inside. Now, he's played kind of all over the place, and I was like, oh, awesome. They're going to play him where he should play, which is on the inside. And then he said this, kind of like Solomon Thomas, and I just shrink in my seat. And it was kind of interesting because Kyle Shanahan said, Solomon Thomas belongs on the inside. We can play him on the outside in emergency situations. But then I'm just like, good Lord, we haven't had that many emergency situations, and Solomon Thomas is always on the outside. He's bounced around, but you're going to see a couple plays here where Solomon Thomas is standing up as an edge defender on the outside. That is just the dumbest possible thing you could do to waste somebody's talent. So anyway, Kentavious Street's on the injured reserve right now. He has a 3-week practice window. Now, they could activate him at any point, but you have those 3 weeks, and you can sit him after that. But he gets to practice for 3 weeks. I don't think he's going to be activated this week, especially with D Ford and DJ Jones practicing. If those guys are in, now if DJ Jones is out, if he doesn't play this week, I do think Kentavious Street will be activated as kind of an emergency defensive line guy for the inside and outside. Now, people that did not practice yesterday, Jaquaski Tart, Julian Taylor, and Dante Pettis. Dante Pettis did practice some today in a limited role, and rehab work on the side were Tim Harris and Jason Verrett. We haven't heard much about Tim Harris, the 7th-round pick corner, that went on IR relatively early, but he's doing some rehab work there. So lots of great news. It's crazy to think, we're moving into week 14 of the NFL season, and the 49ers are starting to get pretty damn healthy. So this is we've done so much. The 49ers have done so much that to start to get at full strength now is wonderful. We still got some more places to go. We're still not close to full strength. But we are healthier now than we have been since week 2 of the NFL season. I do believe that. Did you hear C.J. Beathard said he wants to start? Joking, I had too much soda. Thank you, Barack. Appreciate that. Yeah, C.J. doesn't start for anybody, nor should he. He shouldn't start at all. But anyway, which team is more physical, the 49ers or the Saints? Yeah, the 49ers have a complementary style where they are so damn physical. And what makes the 49ers are more physical in offense and defense. But the thing that makes the Saints so special is they have a very, very good defense because they have one of the best cover corners in the NFL. Now, we have a lot of great corners, but as far as the Marcus Lattimore, who I loved, and that's the guy I wanted to draft instead of Solomon Thomas, but whatever, I'll back off of that one. Here's the issue, okay? He is probably going to replace Patrick Peterson as that shadow cornerback that just follows the best player around all game and just shadows him. He's going to be that type of player. What he has been able to do to shut down people like Amari Cooper to 0 catches, people like Mike Evans to 0 catches. That's just this year. Now, he's had some hamstring issues, but his film is special. So because they are able to kind of isolate teams that want to target one wide receiver over other people, that creates a lot of mismatches everywhere else where they can move their defense because they have great safety play as well, Marcus Williams. So the Saints are pretty damn good, but it all starts with their corner position and then Cameron Jordan, who he's kind of Joe Staley on the opposite side. One of the better run defenders from a defensive. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else but me, but Cameron Jordan's having a hell of a year. So that's going to be huge. It's going to be really hard to run at him. But and then if you look at the Saints on the offensive side, they're two teams. They are two different teams. They are the definition of finesse and quick passing and all those things when Drew Brees is in there. Then they play this freaking wild card man, Taysom Hill everywhere else, and he's the most physical. He's Tim Tebow, but a good player. I don't know how else to say that. He blocked a damn kick last week. He plays quarterback, fullback, tight end, receiver. Kyle Shanahan said he's seen him play everywhere except the offensive line. He's on special The kid is special. Taysom Hill is special. So very different teams. Is Jimmy Garoppolo winning comeback player of the year? He's definitely possible. Now, I'll say this. The key to Jimmy Garoppolo winning comeback player of the year is the 49ers are going to have to be the first or second seed in the playoffs. I do believe that. They love to go with happy, sunshiny stories, and they're not going to give that to a wild card player. I just don't think that they are. So as far as who the competition is, I don't know, but we've got to look at what's going on. I love the chat. Tim Ryan questions in the chat. I've received so many messages about Tim Ryan the past 24 hours. It's all right, guys. It's going to be all right. Whether or not Tim Ryan is a racist, I do not know. I do not think that his comments that he made during the broadcast would constitute him as a quote-unquote racist. I don't want to be the judge of those things, but yeah, it's a rough one. It's a rough one. I'll say that. And speaking of rough, if you don't want rough, guess what, guys? The 49ers podcast is brought to you by Manscaped.com. They support this podcast and really want to say thank you. Head over to Manscaped.com and use promo code 49ers for 20% off and free shipping for whatever you buy. And here's the deal. We're getting on the holiday season, and they wrote this little jingle, so I'm gonna read this bad boy. Jingle balls to the walls, fellas. Listen up. Untrimmed pubes are a thing of the past. It's time to gear up and get yourself the gift of shaving this holiday season. I am talking about the Manscaped Perfect Package 2.0. So here's what you need to do. Head over there, manscaped.com. Use promo code 49ers, 49ERS. People keep messaging me to spell it out. The promo code is 49ERS. Numbers, then ERS, no spaces. 20% off, free shipping, and I believe in this product. I have worked with these guys for a long time. One, it's a hell of a company. Two, their product's amazing. The Lawnmower 2.0 is worth everything just by itself because it's waterproof, it doesn't cut you, and it does the job very, very well. It's perfect. It's a great, great product. So head over to manscaped.com. Use promo code 49ers, 49ERS, 20% off, and free shipping. Awesome product over there. So let's jump in real quick to some of these Pro Football Focus numbers and see what's going on over there, okay? Top 5, Marcel Harris comes in at the top. He played 28 snaps, so he came in early in the third quarter, had that huge forced fumble. But Marcel Harris, make no mistake, this is who he was in college. He is a run game strong safety. The problem with Marcel Harris is he is not great in coverage. He never has been. He makes a lot of mistakes in coverage to soft finesse teams. So it looks like Jaquiski Tartt's going to be out with broken ribs. He didn't. It's a possibility he could play, but he needs to sit. He really does. This is a terrible matchup for Marcel Harris this week against the Saints. But he played a hell of a game. 91.0 grade. That is an elite grade, and he just crushed it in the run game. He was not only the play where he ripped the ball out of Lamar Jackson's hands. That is great. But I do believe he was just great all over the place. We're going to see what happens this week, though. Fred Warner, 78.7 grade. A lot of people are upset with that. Again, the way that Pro Football Focus grades is negative plays count against your grade. Yeah, he made a lot of positive plays. There's no doubt about that. He was out of position for a lot of plays as well. Should his grade be higher than a 78.7? Hell yeah, it should be. But yeah, it's what it is. This is a good launching point. Richard Sherman, 76.6, played very, very well. Jimmy Ward, 76.3, and Akello Witherspoon, 74.1. And it was kind of interesting. Emmanuel Mosley did not get much playing time at all. He was able to get out there for one snap when Richard Sherman went down, but that was it. Now, the worst graded players, and I don't think that this grade should have been way lower. Azeez Al-Shahar, who I love. I think that he brings so much energy to this game and to this defense. He just brought too much energy. He got a 39.7, the lowest grade out there, and he was awful. Third and long. He goes in, it's an incomplete pass, and gets a personal foul roughing the quarterback penalty, which it was. The very next play, blows outside contain, gives up a 13-yard run from Russell Wilson. The very next play in goal line, under pursues and gets sucked up again and gives up a touchdown. So he goes 3 straight plays. Third and long, gives them a free first down. It was an incomplete pass. They had to kick a field goal. Then it lets them get into the red zone by blowing outside contain. Then allows them a rushing touchdown because he and Sheldon Day lost their gap responsibilities on the goal line. So he was awful. Now, he got 39 total snaps. I really want to see Elijah Lee start to get some of those snaps and have a little bit more of a competition. He did not play well. Dre Greenlaw came out with a 42.5 grade, and here's the deal. First 2 series, Dre Greenlaw was a beast. As the game went on, they started to target him more and more in the pass and in the run game. So Dre Greenlaw, that's the thing. He's a rookie. He's playing very, very well. There's a lot of very positive plays that he has coming across. Also some bad plays, so he's just got to correct that a little bit. Nick Bosa, 45.4. Didn't really do a whole bunch. Got 1 pressure. We didn't get back to Lamar Jackson very much at all outside of DeForest Buckner, but I think that they docked him a lot of times on those zone reads where he took the dive and Lamar Jackson kept it. Solomon Thomas, 50.4, just because, yeah, it's where he belongs. DJ Jones, 53.2. So those are kind of the low bottom 5 grades, but the defense as a whole played relatively well. Now, let's jump into some more questions, Brock. Thanks, John. I can't stand to hear boogers. Yeah, you don't want to listen to that guy. He's rough, the things he says. Yeah, he's rough. Anyway, who's doing color commentary for the game this week? I hope Ed. Yeah, I think that's who it's going to be if you listen to the 49ers radio, which is a blast. But if not, Gibster, strongly recommend you joining us over at the Hot Mic app. It is a free app in the iTunes. Use promo code RUSH, ESF, no spaces. What's more important to the team? Playing for home field advantage or the first round bye for rest and repair? That first round bye is everything. I read something today. The 49ers have only won 5 road playoff games in the entire franchise history. Am I worried about the Dallas Cowboys if we do not win the division? No, I'm really, really not. But what would be terrible is if you play the Cowboys on the road, then you have to go play the Saints on the road, then you have to go play the Seahawks on the road all in a row. Is it possible to come out of those with 3 victories and then win the Super Bowl? Yeah, 49ers are good. It's not very likely, though. So you increase your chances. I want that first round bye. It does look like, we're going to determine, if the 49ers lose to the Saints, it's going to be almost near impossible to get that first round bye. That's just what it is. So you've got to win this week, and then you've got to win next week. If we go back to the start of the season, before the season, at the schedule release, I went back and looked at my notes. I said that the hardest game of the year would be this week traveling to the Saints. So I think that's going to hold up. I think it's going to be a difficult game, but I like the way we match up with the Saints. I do have us winning. I really do like this. But here's the deal. You've got the game against both of them are on the road. We're playing at the Saints, and then we're playing at Seattle the last week of the season. If we want that first round bye, all we got to do is win those 2 games. That's key. You want it, you got to go get it. And the team that gets it, the cool thing about this is everybody's playing each other. Green Bay's playing us, Saints are playing us, Seahawks are playing us twice. It's played out in the NFC. The schedule worked out very, very well. That whoever gets that 1 seed, they deserve it. Whoever wins the NFC West, they deserve it. Should the 49ers have beaten the Seahawks? Yeah, you bet your ass they should have. But it came up short. So you got to figure that out, and you got to capitalize. How do you think our D-line matches up with their O-line? They have great tackles. Their tackles, you could argue, are the best tackles in the entire NFL. Interior, man, they got my rookie crush, Eric McCoy, at center, and he has crushed it. He has been wonderful. But their guards definitely need some work. So DeForest Buckner inside, but I do think that we can get pressure because the quarterback's not going to move. I really, really do. So AJ, appreciate that. Hot Mic app sounds awesome. The only thing that gets me more excited is Blue Chew. Blue Chew, they're trying to negotiate coming back in as another sponsor. Head over there. Use promo code 49ers, 49ERS. Give them some extra motivation to support the podcast. Anyway, so let's jump through just a couple more questions. I'm loving the chat. There seems like a whole bunch of interaction on there, which is great. But, what I did want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the updated ranks for our defense because guess what? They continue to improve. Our numbers are increasing over everybody else as it goes on. If you look at what New England's doing, because they're kind of our main competition, I think it's the New England Patriots, the 49ers, then everybody else. But currently, as far as points scored, 49ers are in second. Total yards, we have the best by far. And the discrepancy between our offense and our defense has allowed 3,011 yards. Our offense has put up 4,536 yards. That's a 1,500-yard difference. That is ridiculous. So the fact that our defense has continued, even against the number one offense in the NFL and all that kind of stuff, doesn't matter. Our defense was able to limit them to their lowest ever. And that discrepancy is huge. We continue to stay in games and win games with our defense, but if our offense can keep doing what they're doing and just stay consistent, we're going to be just fine. Other things that we have given up the fewest passing yards in the NFL, and we only allow 4 yards per passing attempt. That is key. That is a metric that Kyle Shanahan tracks and has brought up several times. We are first in the NFL in that. Second thing, we've allowed the second fewest first downs. And I mean, you just keep going. There's so many different things. We're fourth in forced turnovers. There is so much going on that the 49ers can do that is just so special. This team, it's no joke. And I really do think that it's going to answer the call as we go through the back part of our schedule. Now, we have 4 games left. And they're not all give-me's. It's not like it's an easy schedule by any stretch of the imagination. So we're at the Saints this week. Then we get to come home for 2 weeks, which is very, very nice. We have a Sunday night game, which is going to be a lot of fun against the Falcons. And then we have a early Sunday game against the Rams, both at home. So, we've got a lot of stuff going on, but I think that's going to be fun. So, again, 2 home games against the Falcons and the Rams. Then we finish up on the road versus the Seahawks. And, if that last game is going to be key, I don't even want to say it, but if you lose that last week against the Seahawks and they end up winning the NFC West, you're going into a ridiculous playoff stretch already playing a difficult team on the road. There's a chance you could play 4 straight road games if that's the case. Seeing some Grant Cohn love in the chat and some hate in the chat. That's a lot of fun. John, do you think we call back that rookie kicker of gold? No. Here's the thing about Chase McLaughlin. 4 teams put in waiver requests to get him. He's locked up. He's not going anywhere else. I don't think Chase McLaughlin will be a free agent after the season. I think he's getting locked up. 4 teams tried to get that bad boy. Everybody tried to get him, including the Patriots. And as we know, anything the Patriots do, everybody else is like, okay, if Bill Belichick wants him, that means we're going to lock him up. But he played great. He did very, very well. A lot of people gave him a lot of hell because of that 47-yard field goal that went off to the side against the Seahawks. Yeah, he should have made it, but he already made 2 47-yard field goals before that in that game. He is going to be a kicker in this league. And, Kyle Shanahan has voiced his support continually for Robbie Gould, and he's not worried about it, even though he has missed kicks in 8 out of the 9 games he has played in. He's going to have to answer the call. He really, really is. He really is going to have to step up. Now, a couple things, and, the betting portion of this show is a lot of fun for me. I really enjoy it, and I get probably the most positive and negative comments based on this, but mybookie.ag is the best betting site out there. They are our sponsors. And again, I said this last time. The reason we started doing 4 podcasts a week is because they pushed us to. And they said, what do we need to do to help you guys get to that point? And I was like, I just don't have the time to do it. And they're like, well, how can we help you create time? And these guys have been huge for the 49ers Rush podcast. I really do appreciate all their support. They are the number 1 betting sports site online, mybookie.ag. Use promo code 49ers, 49ERS, and they're going to double your initial deposit. Now, if we look at the game this week between the 49ers and the Saints, the line has moved a little bit. Started out at +3. I got in early on that. Now it's +2.5, just under a field goal. So if we look at just the betting, technically Vegas is saying we are the better team, because here's the deal. The home team always gets 3 points. So the road team is always -3 if the teams are even. But the fact that it's pulled just a little bit to the 49ers' way, we're not being disrespected anymore. We are favored. Basically, they're saying we are half a point better than the New Orleans Saints. We both have 10-2 records. This is going to be a huge game. So if you want to bet that, tomorrow I'm going to have a whole bunch of my betting specials up and just stuff that I'm going to do. They have the most prop bets of any site that's out there. Mybookie.ag. Absolutely love those guys. Easy to get your money in, easy to get your money out. You can bet on blackjack. They have all kinds of stuff. You can do Bitcoins and all kinds of different whatever. They have everything that you want. And so that's mybookie.ag. So really excited to see what's going to happen. This is going to be a fun week. It really is. I hate that it's an early kickoff. This should be a primetime game whenever you have 2 10-2 teams playing against each other. But it's what it is. We don't get to pick it. If you want to blame anybody about this, it's Fox. Fox protected both of the games last week and this week, and that's why it couldn't be flexed. So this is a Fox thing, but whatever. You take what it is and you kind of move on. But anyway, guys, just want to say thank you so much. Really do appreciate all the support and everything. Like the video if you haven't already, and please share it. That is the best way to help out the 49ers Rush podcast. And we will be back tomorrow. I'm hoping to get that episode out. I got to do some more film work just on scouting report, predictions, keys to the game, and all that. It's turning into the most trafficked podcast each week, which is a lot of fun. That's a good thing. So we will be back with you guys very shortly. Really appreciate all the support. And as always, stay strong, faithful.